but I figure this is
Are you driving, Larissa?
I am. This is the least bad way to do this.
Where did you see that audio was turned off?
Oh, it was as I was signing in, it said host has turned off audio, but that would appear to no longer be the case.
Okay,
So
great.
I don't know why that was
I have no
saying
idea.
that.
That's a new one for me. I don't even know where
Yeah.
that would be.
Oh, I guess it's like when you're on it.
And once I get in, I'll hop up to my office. Hopefully there won't be any issues with the handoff from cellular to Wi-Fi, but I may end up needing to be let in again just as a heads up, and that will be in about half an hour. In the meantime, I'll mostly just hang out.
Do you want me to just Okay. All right. Have a good meeting, guys. I got the cord. I'm good.
Thanks, Jamie.
So it's a big fundraiser, and all the artists donated stuff.
Hey, Josh. How are you?
When she said,
Hey, Josh.
hey, she didn't think she'd have enough, I said, what can I do?
Exactly.
There's only one person in the Mad River
For now.
Valley can be fine, and that was Mary.
So folks ready? It's 6:30.
Recording in progress.
No. She's the end of October.
So let's call the meeting to order. And first item is, are there any additions or modifications to the agenda? And there is one. Folks will remember, it goes back years now, that John Donaldson built a pond on his property at the corner of Ralston Road and East Warren Road, and the fire department requested the installation of a hydrant. And we have a proposal for that and ran into some snags and want to put it on the agenda to discuss tonight. And I'd like to do that first, unless there's any changes to the consent agenda. And the reason I'm asking that, we've had a request. It was email was attached to the agenda from Betty Ann. I'm sorry, what's your last name?
Libby.
Libby, that's right. To allow for the installation of the pennants on Bridge Street again for the 5th year, or this is
This was
6th
the
year?
5th year.
This was the 5th year.
This will be the 6th
So
year.
it's on the consent agenda, which means that we're going to go ahead and approve it unless somebody takes it off and we discuss it. And if there's no interest in taking it off, you can consider it approved by the end of the meeting.
Okay, great.
Go home and have dinner.
I will say that the next item on the agenda is public forum. If you want to say anything about it, I will say that it's great. I think it's appreciated.
Thank you. Well, the artists have a good time making them, and I see people on Bridge Street. I think it's just a whole other addition to Bridge Street, and I personally like free public art.
Yep.
Because I find that walking into a gallery can be intimidating, but this way you don't have to plan it. You just see it.
I think it's wonderful. Other towns have pre-made, bought
Right.
stuff from the store. And having our own art, I think, is just very special.
Well, they do a lot. It takes hours and hours for each person to paint it, so.
What happens to them after the season?
Well, so far we've sold one.
Do you return them to the artist, or?
The artists get them back, and then there's another one that's of the covered bridge, you might have seen it. And that was done in collaboration with John Anderson and Tommy O'Grady, who's like 11 years old, and he goes to Waitsfield, and Tommy's been mentored by John Anderson, so they did it together. And his mom wants to buy it. But, yeah, so basically, there are these signs there, and you can contact the artist if you like anything.
So again, it's on the consent agenda. It's just automatic approval when we get to there.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna go and.
Yeah.
But thanks for the invite. And thanks for approving.
Yeah, thanks for doing it.
Thank
And I can
you.
leave this if any of you want to look at it, you can
Oh,
hang it
sure.
up. It's only gonna be up one more week. And then it'll be back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And by the way, I recycled the banner material. I organized an exhibit in Massachusetts called Studios Without Walls. And the town makes us these huge banners. So when I saw the banner arms here, I got permission to do it. I cut the banners to fit those posts, sewed them on my 1901 white rotary machine. Just so that, there's stuff you have to do to prep them anyway. It's all good, and thank you, enjoy, and
Thank you.
we'll
Thanks.
see you next
Thank you.
time.
Definitely.
So anyone else here for public comment, public forum? John, want to come up? So this came to my attention right before York left. And you can correct me if I make any mistakes, John. We had an estimate at one point for the installation to cost $10,000, which maybe it would have 4 years ago.
It would have, presumably back in 22.
And that's what we put in the budget. And we had one proposal. And did York solicit the proposal?
I got this today from Chris Griffin. I sort of feel like I'm representing York because he left, and I'm not sure he actually got this final set of numbers.
I don't think he did because he
No.
told me it was 24,000.
Well, what happened is
Plus culvert.
apparently
What was that?
both the
Marissa?
contractor, I'll
That was
explain.
plus the culvert, but
Oh,
John,
the culvert,
John,
culvert, got it, yeah.
The fire department, the road department, and Chris all think it makes sense to put a culvert along Ralston Road and cover it. And that way trucks can get in, equipment can get in, and they want to leave it up even after the installation because there may be maintenance required and it would just be a lot easier to get in there. The hydrant itself is deep. The line is going to be very deep, like 6 feet. There's already 3 sections in with a gate valve. And so this work is to extend it out to the road and put the hydrant in. And it's more complicated than I thought because what the fire department wanted was what's called a wet hydrant, which means the pipe's full of water and the hydrant's full of water. And so every truck in the fire department can draw water. Whereas if it's a dry hydrant where the pipe's empty and you just have to suck it out of the pond, which often fails, by the way, there's only a couple vehicles that can actually pump that. But for that extra convenience, it's a lot more expensive. They got to put the pipe deeper. The hydrant itself has to be full of water to use it, but in the winter, it actually has to be drained down. The water would stay in the pipe, but you drain the hydrant, and so there's a big bed of sand and crushed stone that you have to put in underneath. So just getting that material in and being able to repair it and access it in the winter is why they decided that a covered culvert was a good idea to just leave it in there permanently. So this is the current estimate.
I didn't think to, when Larissa and I we were talking about putting the agenda together, she asked about this and I said, I didn't know that it was like so pending that Griffin was about to set up on the site, and I wanted York to be here
Yeah.
to put it on the agenda and wait until that, because his comment was, I don't know where the money's coming from.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
It's been a challenge, a communication challenge. Personnel's turned over the years. Every summer there was a different reason why it didn't get done. Last year, because of the floods, you all asked Chris to do a lot of other work for the town, and so he didn't have time to do it. But this year it's dry, and he has the time, and he was ready to go. But the whole communication about the cost and everything sort of fell through the cracks.
So, and I did look into it a little bit. There is a rural fire protection grant program that is explicitly for Vermont, that explicitly pays for dry hydrants and similar hydrants. And the last application deadline, there was 3 this year, is April, July, and August, or April, June, and August, assuming the next one would be next year. I'm wondering how urgent it is from your perspective, and
Well,
if we could.
I don't really have a dog in this hunt. I mean, it's going to be on my property. I've given the town an easement. I voluntarily, when we were building the pond, thought it would be a good idea and
It is, we really
reached out to
appreciate it.
Tripp. And it's apparently needed in that part of town.
Yep.
I know when Gib Geiger had a fire at his house about 5 years ago, they went to the closest dry hydrant and they couldn't get any water. So Tripp was really anxious to
I did
have a
talk
wet
to the
hydrant.
chief today and let him know it was on the agenda.
Yeah.
His comment was, hadn't this been going on for 4 years? I think so.
No, I mean, the only inconvenience to me is the field gets torn up and then it gets reseeded. It's not a big deal. So it's
I'm
really,
wondering seasonally, I mean, you want to do it before the ground freezes, obviously.
yeah, you got to do it before the ground freezes.
I'm just wondering if the bid will still be there in a couple of weeks and we sit down with York and look at the budget and see if there might be some money.
Yeah, realistically, this is not what any of us want to do, I think, but it sounds like if we have to drain it come winter time anyway, by the time we put it in, we're gonna get,
Well, it'll still be usable in the winter. It's just
but it needs
when you
to-
turn it on, the water's got to go from the underground pipe straight up. So it's sort of an instantaneous thing, but the water's got to get below the freeze.
So that
freeze
doesn't
level.
require the special pump truck.
No, not at all.
And that's why
So
it's
it can be
60.
used all winter.
Yeah, it can be used all year round.
Can you explain the need for the culvert again?
The culvert?
Yeah.
Well, I only know what I was told.
Okay, yeah, that's-
I saw a couple people on my field last week, and I went down to talk to them, and it was the road foreman, whose name I've forgotten. I'm sorry. Josh, yes, and Chris Griffin, and actually Chris's uncle, who did all the work on my property, and he lives north of here, but he agreed to come back and do this work because he put everything in originally, and he was familiar with it. Chris had carved out the time. I have no idea what his schedule is, but I think, as you say, Brian, until the ground freezes, it can be done.
But the culvert again, where's that?
So the culvert, I'm sorry. When everybody met, they said, we've got to get sand, we've got to get stone, we've got to get pipe onto the property. And there's a very deep swale there on Ralston
the Ralston side.
Road. So they thought they would put in a temporary culvert
On the Ralston Road.
on Ralston Road.
Okay.
And, put a culvert in, put some material on top and be able to drive in. And then Josh said, if you're gonna do that, you should just leave it in because it'll be a lot easier for the fire department to get a small truck in there if they need to do any service work
It is on the Ralston Road.
on the Ralston Road.
So, maybe there's looking at our bridge and culvert fund to help pay for it would be a possibility for replacing a culvert.
So I'm not fully understanding the necessity. They can't
Well-
access the hydrant?
I mean, I'm not the expert. You can question whether it's really a necessity, but somehow they have to get the material from the road onto the property.
And that
So
requires going.
Well, I
from
think
East
they're going to
Florida.
have sand in a dump truck and stone
Yeah,
in a
sand
dump
in a
truck.
There's a ditch on the side of Ralston Road across together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I already worked out with Chris when he brings this excavator, he can actually get it using the scoop. He can move it over the culvert,
Yeah.
but you can't get a truck in.
So this would provide access, not on the Ralston Road, but provide access to the hydrant.
Yes.
Okay, which does make sense to have a permanent culvert.
So we can't get to the hydrant now? Is that what I'm understanding? We
Well,
have a hydrant that we can't utilize because
We don't have a hydrant.
no, the
We don't have a
hydrant
hydrant.
will be right by the road.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the firemen can walk over and hook up their
Okay,
hoses. That's not an issue. It's really for construction and long-term maintenance is why these guys thought it would be a good idea to put a culvert in and leave it in.
Okay. Okay, now I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting.
So, any ideas?
Just takes money.
So we put this back out to bid. We got one bid or one quote.
York did say he had reached out to other contractors and whether and hadn't heard back from them by the time he left. I'm wondering about rebidding it or. Are you here for this?
No, I'm here for a different issue.
Okay.
It's
But you're
much
agreeing.
Less important.
Is it on the agenda?
Huh?
Is it on the agenda?
No. I'm like a stand-in sort of guy.
Okay. Well, we did have a public forum where that's the time we take up
That's
things
why
that
I
are,
come, because I'm part of the public.
okay.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong. It was just about the bridge, but I'd like.
But we'll talk about it
Yeah.
when we're done with
Yeah, I
this.
can
Okay.
clear with you later. It's just for this job.
So want to wait until we can do a little research and maybe see if York might follow up with some of the other contractors?
That makes sense. We,
Yeah, I think I'd love to get it done before it stretches another year or two.
Yes.
But with the tripling of the cost estimate, probably is pretty,
And the cost isn't going to go down. Right.
have we ever heard from anyone else, on this?
York said he was going to reach out to Kingsbury, and I don't
But
know.
beside, but on this first iteration, we just heard from Griffin and Sons.
Yeah. Well, all things being equal, it makes sense to use people that built the pond and know where the pipe is and all. I mean, although it's pretty well marked, but.
Yeah. And, you know, it might not be out of line with what the current market is doing. And it would be good just to touch base with Josh too and the fire department, because I do remember Tripp saying that would be really helpful to be up there, as you said, with Gibbs House.
And just to confirm, this is for a wet,
I'm sorry.
this is for a wet hydrant.
Yes, this is for
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I mean, the rural fire protection
Is it just?
grant program is just for dry hydrants, but it's $10,000 per project maximum grant, 25% local match required.
Yeah, you wonder why they wouldn't be willing to cover part of a dry or wet hydrant.
John, can you remind us what work's already been done? You said put some portions of the pipe in already? Maybe
It's
in the
been
pond.
about 4 years to the day when the pond got finished. And I reached out to Tripp before we finished the pond. And he said, yes, I want to do it. He talked to Chris Griffin about costs and he said, I don't really have any money in the budget, but I have enough to put 3 sections of pipe in. Because once the pond's built, you're sort of stuck. Right? So the first section went in the pond that's covered with a screen to keep material out. It's 10 feet long. And then there's another 10-foot section and they put a gate valve in. So they shut the water off and they put one more section and put a cap on the end.
So Tripp came to a board meeting and we okayed that.
Yeah.
And then we said we would put in the budget, whatever the estimate was, and at that time it was 10,000. We really haven't revisited it.
Yeah, did they give any indication how long they thought it would take them to do the work?
It's a couple days. I mean, you dig a hole and you put the pipe in and you backfill it. It's unfortunate. You need a lot of equipment and you need a lot of material, but it's not like weeks and weeks to get it done.
Yeah, the numbers like using an excavator skid steer at a high end of a rate for that kind of equipment, it's almost 2 weeks. I'm coming up to almost 2 weeks of work, so something seems out of whack there. Like using $200 an hour, which is like a company I work for charges $125 an hour or something.
Yeah, I'm guessing that when he says equipment, he's including the pipe and the hydrant. Oh, no, the pipe's in the next line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pipe's in the
typically
next line.
that's just
I don't-
equipment and the labor to operator. The equipment and the operator would be included in that 14,629 usually. So yeah, to me, it would be worth asking is how much time are you expecting to put in this and how much markup are you putting on the materials? Because it just feels high.
Yeah.
And it's a small job and it's probably got a lot of other stuff going on. and all that.
Well, if
But-
if you're gonna spend more time, you're gonna talk to York and others, maybe you just want Chris to come in to a meeting and explain it, or at
Or
least
York to
explain it
follow
well
up.
enough to
Yeah.
York that.
Yeah.
Because I can't translate it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
York's back in the next few weeks.
I think he's at our next meeting.
Our next,
Is that Larissa?
our next meeting is not until, yeah, so the schedule this month is a little bit wonky, so it's, I think, not until the 20-something.
27th, right? We should go
Correct,
back on our
'cause-
usual fourth Monday.
But I'm pretty sure this was the only meeting that York said that he was gonna be missing.
That's my understanding. So we can put it on the next meeting agenda and do a little bit of research for that.
Okay, thanks for your
And
time.
that's okay with you?
You know, I'm the tail wagging the dog. It's,
No, but we.
you know, I'd like to get it done, but you
Yeah.
have to make intelligent, thoughtful decisions about it, and, you know, so be it.
We still appreciate your making it happen if we can afford it.
What's the level of the pond?
Yeah.
My
That's
pond
too.
is down about that much.
Well,
Really?
It's pretty good.
I have a spring that fills it that's 50 gallons a minute, but the water table's down so far that the spring's not running.
But your pond is maintained.
wow.
My pond is down by like 3 feet or something.
Yeah, me too.
So the first year first summer we were gonna do it and it was dry, just like this.
Yeah.
And my pond started to fall and I reached out to Trip and I said, hey, brand new pond. Do you want to throw good money after bad? We better wait, we better wait and see what we got here. And 3 weeks later, came right back up.
Wow,
And it's been up ever since then until like a month ago.
exceptional.
Well,
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
Did you want this?
Oh, yeah, this, John, I think this was accidentally handed around.
Oh. You found this?
It was in the stack.
Oh, it was
but
in the stack. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
what is it?
I didn't see it.
Secret document.
One of my part-time jobs.
Not relevant to us.
No. So we do have a
Hi
public
there.
forum for folks who can come in and talk about things that
I
are.
really appreciate it. My name is John Broder. In case you don't know me, I live at 130 Bridge Street in Waitsfield, up at the bridge.
Yeah.
And I just have a question.
Jennifer sent us an email about your question.
Yeah, and then with a picture of the whole scenario.
Can you maybe, I looked at it really quickly, got it this afternoon, to maybe explain the situation?
Well, what it is they blocked all parking off towards the rail in the mailboxes on the right side going west into the bridge.
Yeah.
And so, and then there's another guardrail there, but what it does is this weekend when I was going around the neighborhood in my little wheelchair and stuff, it got so congested because they couldn't park there. People were parking in the travel lane and everywhere else. And so it's great that we have no parking, but where are they going to put the parking to have these tourists easily get out of the car, take a picture, get back in?
So how is the no parking? I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no
Were there
idea
no
whose
parking
idea
signs?
it is.
No, it's striping on the pavement.
Yeah, stripes
So
on
they
the
did stripe it.
pavement,
They did stripe it, and what previously was parking is now marked
no
no parking.
parking.
It's marked on the pavement.
It's
Yeah.
marked on the pavement.
That's because,
Was this the attempt?
yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Larissa.
Oh, so I was just gonna ask, is this part of the, because I think the initial intention in widening Bridge Street, or that area east of the bridge on Bridge Street, when it was repaved, was that there was a hope that there would be more sort of specifically delineated pedestrian access. Now, that's not necessarily what's happening, but that was sort of the closest thing that I could think of to explain why that might have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's exactly right. And I remember talking to Josh about doing something like the painting it green or like they do for the bike lanes.
I love that
As
idea.
something to just differentiate it from a travel lane.
Yeah, because you don't need 8 feet of no parking zone. Just put a little green travel zone to continue the sidewalk. And then there'd be ample. That way tourists won't be going, oh, I can't even go there.
Yeah.
And so they're parking up as far as Funstein's, you know, and just blocking driveways and getting into the travel lane.
Now, is this an ongoing thing or is it a foliage thing?
It's a foliage thing, but because I just noticed it this weekend, it
The
was just
markings just went
applied.
in, I think, right, in the, it just got marked, the new payment marking.
ago.
Yeah,
Even
and
weeks ago.
we just applied the end of last
This is
week,
a week.
I believe.
John said
First day.
a week ago.
Yeah, a week ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I've been there for 45 years at my address and in the neighborhood for over 50. So I thought that was a pretty unthoughtful thing to do. At least allow 2 parking spaces there or something. And then there's 2 parking places by the Foley's. There's a curb. And then it gets too narrow for any more parking. So I believe you should have the option of be able to 2 cars here and still have that green stripe down for continue the sidewalk, because that only needs to be 3 feet wide or so.
Well, this is news to me. Haven't talked to our road commissioner who is,
I called Charlie earlier, but he didn't respond.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we've been after, our crew to get to do the striping.
Yeah,
And we've been after V-Trans to get it done. They finally did their part.
right.
The yellow lines. So
Finally they did, yes.
finally, yeah.
Because I had people in my lane when I was going up towards East Warren, and they were in the middle of the road. They didn't know where it ended. So I had to swerve off the road into the ditch a little bit to, you know, have
And that was a long
figure it
time
out.
with no yellow lines.
So
Yeah.
anyway, the line, it was a really good thing for these tourists that we have who don't know the roads.
So we need to talk to Josh. I want to go out and look at it. And
That would be
see
a
what's
really
going on.
wise idea. And I measured between the side of the road and when you're going towards the east from town, it does bow out a little bit, but all that's driveway. And so there's a parking lot for Ilya, and then the Smith's old house, which is the Foley's now,
Yeah.
garage, and then the Foley's. So that's all expanded, but then it crunches right when that curb comes in. And so it's just like a false sense of, you know, a lot of people are parking right in their driveway just because all they want to do is take a picture, you know? And so it'd be a nice, like, standing maybe in a couple places or
So
something.
let us look into it and
Please.
put it on the future agenda.
Yeah.
27th. It'll probably stay where it like it is unless Charlie and Josh have an idea to do something.
Yeah, I was hoping to talk to Charlie, but I didn't. But I did talk to my neighbors there, and they're feeling the same way.
Okay.
That it's just going to become congested the further up the road it would get. And then people are driving like it'd be like the bridge. People are waiting for each other to go by in that bottleneck there. That's all I had to say about that one.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. We'll
Thank you
we'll
for
look
coming.
into
Yeah,
it.
thanks for coming
Appreciate
in.
it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Hey, Ben.
Good, thank you. Haven't seen you in a
You
long
look
time.
great. I know.
Still painting?
Yeah. Well, I am, but not for money.
Oh.
I still climb a ladder though. Can't keep me down.
All right. Well, thanks for
But
coming
anyway,
in.
thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate it. Does Fred? Did we get estimate from Crane?
We did.
So next item on. So you want to tell the story? We're having a furnace in the White House service last week, and they decided they wouldn't start it up again because it's
It's got a CO leak in it. There's one.
Yeah, that's serious.
so yeah. I told Marissa and I wasn't sure what the gas was. And CO is not a good gas.
No, it isn't. So we
No,
have,
it's not.
he had to condemn it right on the spot. There's one stud that's holding part of the units together that is snapped off, and that's probably the cause. But anyway, a replacement of the same unit, only an updated model, is $10,039. And that's installation, the whole thing. It has a limited 15-year warranty on the heat exchanger, 1-year parts labor. And so the Waite House presently does not have heat.
Are there any, did he mention whether there might be any energy efficiency grants for anything? I mean, it's forced hot air, right? But it also, this is also water.
This is water. The forced hot air is generated from the hot water that this makes.
Okay, so this provides both
Hot
hot
water,
water and
yeah,
heat.
so we have neither in the Waite House at the moment. This will be basically a direct replacement. They just uncouple the pipes, pull the unit off the wall, put the new unit on the wall, recouple the pipes. So there's not a lot of extra plumbing or anything.
Mhm.
It's basically the boiler section was aluminum and it does corrode.
Yeah.
And the new unit, I believe I understood, was stainless steel. So it's the same, it's a high efficiency unit, and our heating bills over there is only $2,000 a year, which astounds me.
I know. We
So-
pay more on cleaning than we do on heat
Yeah,
and hot water.
yeah.
And this is
So,
gas fired?
yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I don't think this prevents us from exploring heat pumps in the future, which, you know, I know there's some historic preservation concerns, but would provide cooling in a more efficient
Mhm.
heat for most of the year. Yeah, but I don't know that we would do that without a backup.
Yeah, you basically have to have this.
Yeah.
The municipal energy resilience program is what we're talking about.
Yeah, with Efficiency Vermont.
It's an extension of the state energy management program. I guess, yeah, Efficiency Vermont runs it.
What's it called? The
MERP, Municipal Energy Resilience Program. I've just glanced at the website, but,
You are a quick researcher.
Yeah, you're very good at that.
have Google open.
So the General Waite House Commission has the heat pump, that whole discussion on our agenda for November.
Okay.
And since we're not worried about cooling in the next few months, gives us time to do the research and come up with a recommendation.
We do have, well, $44,000 in
44.
the Waite House Reserve Fund.
So I'd make a motion that we purchase this. It's basically an emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
So the only hesitation would be to maximize efficiency and, you know, try to get away from fossil fuels. I do think it is. I don't know that we have a choice with, it's gonna be cold someday.
It's not gonna be 80 forever.
Oh, come on. Yeah, and then we'll have unhappy tenants.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But it doesn't preclude a heat pump
No,
down the road or multiple
that's a
heat pumps.
discussion that the
Yeah.
commission is looking into.
Mhm. Now, there, the reserve funds, we've paid for the roof and
We paid for the roof.
the painting and everything
Yeah.
else.
We have just a few small items that we are waiting for the bill to come in. The cellular system for the fire alarm, they
Mhm.
put that in today.
Oh, good. And we will recover that.
Yes.
Lower monthly cost.
And let me see here. The bill for the magnetic fire release on one of the doors upstairs, that bill is outstanding. There's one other, so it's like $3,000. It's probably
Okay.
hanging out there somewhere.
And how about the lift? We paid,
Yeah, we paid for that.
yeah, I think
Pretty
so.
sure.
I'm
I'm,
sure.
yeah, Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have. It's just those 3 items I think are hanging.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
I,
Bye.
Thanks, Larissa. Um,
Do you want me to action that tomorrow? Or do you want to yourself, Brian?
Yeah, if you would, you've been talking with them.
okay.
Yep, thank you.
So next item is consider application from Afterthoughts for a Class 2 liquor license to allow the sale of alcohol for off-site consumption. And also on the consent agenda is approving Afterthoughts Class 3 liquor license. We approved their Class 1 liquor license, I believe, and Emily is is with us here on Zoom. At our last meeting, and initially, our policy is to have, updated policy is to have liquor license holders come back 2 years after they get their initial license, just to check in, make sure everything's going well, that there aren't any problems. Jennifer raised the issue that this is really the first time they're getting off-site consumption liquor license. And just mentioned that maybe it would be better for the applicant to show up. Emily said that would be fine, had no problem with that. So I guess I'm just kind of wanted to ask how this differs from Afterthoughts as a bar restaurant, and kind of, are there any special requirements that the Department of Liquor Control requires? And I think, Marissa, you had similar questions?
Yes, I wasn't sure, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm unpacking as I say this. I wasn't sure if there were, so if you're both serving on-site and serving things to be taken off-site, if there are specific requirements as to sort of making sure that it's clear which is which, because I'm pretty sure you're not, but this is also not my area of expertise, consume things that are purchased for off-site consumption on-site. So I was mostly just curious. I meant to do more research and I didn't get around to it, and I'm sorry.
Emily?
Should I go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for having me. I too learned a lot in applying for this license as well. So our first class allows us to serve at the bar. Our third class allows us to serve alcohol and cocktails and whatnot. The second class, it has to be a separate retail location, not located inside the bar. And whatever we sell has to be taken off premise. So it is only to go, and it is mostly for, I want to say, so Peace Burger, he's our food vendor, and he gets a lot of questions about when we're not open during the day, he's serving lunch, and some people do ask for beer or, to-go drinks, and he just can't offer that because we're not open. And it doesn't make sense for us to staff a bartender if we're only going to sell a certain very low amount of drinks that, won't cover our costs for opening. So in this instance, with the second class license, we will be able to sell to-go beer and wine just from a separate location within the bar, but on the Peace Burger side. And then it will only be to go takeout from his side. You can't get to go from our side of the bar, but just if people are getting food, they can get takeout from there.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't been, and it's you should go first of all. They're very good burgers. But the it's a separate room without a connection. And you access it through a totally separate door off the porch.
So people won't be able to have a beer with their burger at Peace Burger?
No, so they can do that now, but this is for people who maybe want to take food away. We just want to give them that option. Maybe we have specialty beers, specialty wine in the cabinet, or cooler. But we'll definitely make sure that they take it off premise and then they're not drinking in the parking lot or whatever, but this is strictly to go. I'm working with Peace Burger to get his staff certified with their Department of Liquor licensing so that they can maybe serve drinks during lunchtime. And then, I mean, if there's demand, we would open up for lunch, but there really isn't that much of a demand right now.
Well, this is all being approved by the Department of Liquor Control or whatever they are. That's what it is.
Yeah,
PLC?
I passed the class. I had to take a separate class for this license. I'm well aware of what the rules and regulations are, and it's just, that's it.
Any other questions or concerns? Great. Is there
Did you want me to stick around for, I saw we're on the agenda a little bit further down for the third class.
No, you are, that's the consent agenda, and if we didn't take you off at the beginning of it, that means you're gonna get approved without any discussion.
Okay, awesome.
So,
Thank you.
not a late night. Larissa, you have any questions?
Nope. Well, I guess my only question is, so I know that the way that serving burgers has gone for Aaron, and this may not be something that is, I don't think Aaron is there.
No.
No.
I did invite him, but
Okay, no, it's
we'll
fair
pass
enough.
on the information.
No, I get that. So there have been, as they've been figuring out what makes sense, there have been times where it's only takeout or it's only dine in at Afterthoughts. But the mechanics of people picking up food is pretty similar for both. So I think just being curious how there's going to be a clear distinction between whether or not a customer is planning to stick around and eat their food there versus no, like, is this only going to be during the hours that Afterthoughts is not open, or is this at all times, and just sort of figuring out that, sorry, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I get that. I mean, signage would be our biggest deterrent of people just buying a 4-pack or a 6-pack and hanging out in the parking lot or at the deck. I would think that also training the staff to know the difference and to like watch out for that would be something to keep in mind as well. But really everyone has been, pretty cooperative with our rules and
you guys have been great about signage, so I have
Yeah.
confidence in your signage abilities.
we can make more signs. I'm a good sign maker, I think, so.
Okay, that was the only sort of point of clarification that I was
I
curious
mean,
about.
we are already under a microscope with the DLL and the Cannabis Control Board, so we want to do everything that is good and correct, and we are following all the rules, doing everything to a T. So, if any issues come up, please let me know, or I will also try to make it so there's no issues. But let's see.
It did occur to me, Brian, after I mentioned, like, I don't know that this exists anywhere, that I was wrong. I'm pretty sure, because Lawson's, there's sort of a retail area that you can
That's
buy
exactly
things
right.
to take away.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I had completely forgotten that at the time.
Many
So.
breweries have this set up where they're pouring pints and then
Yeah,
they have a
actually,
cooler
it's
with-
making sense now that Hillstead has a separate place for retail, separate from the draft room.
Yeah, we're definitely not on their level with the beer and brewing, but if we can offer just something like that,
Awesome.
we're happy to do that.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve after that's class 2 liquor license.
Second.
Second.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
I,
Thank you, Emily.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thanks.
Back up real quick. This estimate from Pring requires a accepted by signature. Mine, you want it?
Yeah. You can, next item, I'll get it. Is that a pen?
Two choices.
New game.
Great. Next item, I just passed out a memo from Town Treasurer Steve Lewis, who would like to invest some of our fund balance, our general fund balance, $600,000 and $1.3 million worth of reserve account funds in 11-month CDs that would be available with no penalty if we needed to take them out prior to the end of the term. And they're guaranteed by the bank with FDIC, so they're not at risk. We've done this before. We've done a pretty good job the last couple of years of making interest on some of our reserve funds. He added the question, I don't know if I really need a board approval to move from one account to another as long as the money's available, but he thought for the sake of transparency and accountability, it's a good idea to do it, and I agreed.
Yeah,
So.
I agree.
Any questions? Yeah, I just got, he had sent a draft a couple weeks ago, and he was doing 2 million. And I'm trying to remember what I asked about. I think it was a couple of things that I thought we might have some outstanding need for. So he rethought it and dropped it down to 1.9, which I completely trust him.
Yeah, and if there's no penalty anyway for an early,
Well, that's my question. I'm reading this as saying with the ability to withdraw funds next May without penalty.
Yes, next May.
So
okay,
as
so
long
it's
as
not
you,
no penalty.
as long as you stay the,
Yeah, sorry, yes, he did. I talked to him this morning, and he did say in May. And the reason that's important is we have to write a big check to the state in June.
Yeah. Mhm. But this, I mean, Sandy was doing this prior to
Yes.
Steve. He's,
if we have a
Consistent.
strong record of not
we've never had an issue of
needing to break it, or, because I'm sure there is a penalty before May. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we went through everything, and one thing I asked him, like, if we're doing that little section of sidewalk by Carol, by Lawson's, where it's dirt, and then it gets to the where we have the metal panel, just to extend that. If there's any minor expense that would not be available, like we couldn't use the transportation path fund, he said there's no problem with just carrying that and reimbursing it in May. That it'll all show up, and it'd be a wash on the books, and we'll be able to do that. We have enough cash flow to do that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, so the same interest rate after the, so
Yeah, I thought the interest rate was,
I'm just on the Northfield website, so 3.6 looks like now.
he might have gotten a deal.
Great.
Or it might have gone down since he talked to him, but whatever.
Yeah, that's comparable.
Yeah, it'll still be higher generally than just leaving it in a.
Oh, yeah, none of the other ones are even in
Checking
the
account.
twos, so.
So is there a motion?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept Steve's recommendation to invest reserve funds and a portion of the general fund and restricted fund balance in CDs with the term ending in May of 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next item is consider appointing Alice Peel as the representative of the Waitsfield Historical Society to the General White House Commission. And I was a little confused, correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy Mehuron was the Waitsfield Historical Society representative. You were not.
That's correct.
And you were the president of the Historical Society, and you no longer are an officer of the Historical Society.
That's,
just wanna-
I'm a member of the board.
Yeah,
of Directors,
no
but I
longer
don't
on.
have an office. I'm not an officer.
And this is the recommendation of the Historical Society.
Yes, to have Alice replace Kathy.
And Alice has wavered a little bit on this, and said she likely would not be a long-term member, but wants to step in and help out at this time. This is how she explained it to me. I'm surprised she's not here. She knows this is on the agenda, though.
I told her so.
Any questions or thoughts? And we do, I guess as just a reminder, we are going to be taking a look at the Wade House Commission bylaws at some point in the future.
Which they passed just a couple hours ago to recommend
To recommend to the,
select board.
yep, that's right, I thought they were bringing them up. So, any further discussion? Motion?
I'd make a motion to appoint Alice Peel as a representative of the Waitsfield Historical Society to the General Wade House Commission.
Second?
Sure. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Alice is doing a lot of work for the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission.
Yeah, I was confused and then a little bit surprised that it was yes, then no, and then yes again.
Yeah,
But that's,
because she was feeling a little stressed, but I appreciate she's doing a lot of work, and she also gave me an update that they are bird dogging that grant application for the Meadow Road Bridge and looking for other opportunities through the Regional Planning Commission. Other than the consent agenda, that's all our action items for the night. The next item is just a follow-up to the discussion, the workshop that we had on 9/24/25. And just to summarize really concisely, the funding outlook has changed dramatically in the United States in the last year. We had anticipated greater reliance on federal dollars for the system. And the finance working group of the wastewater working group recommended that we consider a local option tax on retail sales, rooms and meals, and alcohol. And that would require a vote of the town at our March town meeting, conceivably. And it would also provide significant resources through that local option tax for other capital goods and facilities. And, the process is I think there's going to be a lot of public interest in it. We'll need to have a lot of public outreach and communication. And I guess I don't want to make a decision tonight because there still might be some questions about the specifics of it. The question that I'm still haven't gotten answered is can a tax be earmarked, limited to capital facilities and emergency response? That's the kind of thing that I'd like to see. And I think there's a potential to have a meaningful reduction in the property tax if we were to go ahead with this and spread the burden beyond Waitsfield property owners for paying for our public facilities. That's kind of where I'm coming from. I'll open it up to conversation, but I don't think we need to make a decision tonight other than making a decision to explore it further and start putting the work together to develop a proposal if we decide that a proposal is warranted. Josh, do you have anything to?
Just to your question on like, can we restrict or limit the use of the funds? I'm totally in support of that. I think practically it may be just similar to our reserve funds. Like if the town voters approve a local option tax, we would start collecting. Actually, we don't really collect the funds. The state collects the funds and sends us the money. I think and we as a town can do what we choose with it, obviously.
With the voters authorized, yeah.
Yeah, so we could put language in the vote. I think we need to talk to our lawyer to see how binding that is, but in practical terms, if we allocate that money to like a reserve, capital equipment reserve fund or something like that, we can segregate those funds so it's not commingled with the rest of the general fund town budget. That would be practical way to do it. The remaining question to me would be how binding is, like, whatever we put in the vote language. Just getting advice from council on
That would be.
how to make that
Yeah, I want to talk to them
binding.
as well. Given the scope of capital needs that it looks like we're going to have, I think most of it or all of it will be used on that in the short and medium term. I just wonder how binding of a restriction we want to put on it in case we run into some years where there are not as big capital spending needs, and we could use that to actually give property tax relief in some way. So that was just my one question, or will it just build up in a reserve fund for future infrastructure projects? Those are kind of the choices that, as I said.
Yeah, my bet is any limitation, future voters could change it. Like future voters could say, we don't want a general White House reserve fund anymore. We're spending that on sidewalks or whatever. So that's probably, but I think we need to get, be clear on what the parameters of that would be.
Yeah. Outside of the mechanics, I think that the last meeting was focused primarily on wastewater and the suggestion of a lot tax as a way to partially offset the cost, given the change in federal funding, as you pointed out. One thing we didn't talk a lot about, but I think is worth bringing up, is the other projects that are looming large, like the town garage. I think the fire station is probably not too far behind the town garage. The covered bridge, Meadow Road Bridge, there's ongoing cost to maintain and upkeep to that infrastructure.
We're going to have a flooding. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. If we guesstimate, and these numbers are rough, but if we guesstimate the cost of that other infrastructure, to replace the town garage, replace the fire station, replace the Meadow Road Bridge, that could be $15 million of bonding that, not all going to happen at once, but those are long-term bonds that would all be outstanding at the same time at some point. And that cost would be in the kind of $1 million a year range. Our budget right now is the part not offset. Our budget's 2.8 million. Some of that's offset by other revenue. So the part we raise in property taxes is 2.3 million. We had to add $1 million to the property tax, to the budget to be covered by taxpayers. That's a huge increase. That's almost a 50% increase. So to me, that's, we need to find other sources of revenue somewhere to help offset that. Because that to me is a unsustainable burden to place on the property tax owner.
One thing that kind of stood out to me at the workshop was if we did use some of this funds for the wastewater, it would be kind of front-loaded and likely to decrease, but that we wouldn't be paying debt service on the bond until FY27, which makes next year a huge opportunity to put money in other reserves or that reserve and possibly to pay down debt to provide more bonding capacity in the future. I mean, it would just provide a really exciting budgeting opportunity for next year as well as subsequent years. That could really put us off on a good start for all these projects. So I'm trying to find the downside. I did meet with Josh and Sam to kind of go deep into the report last week. Fred and I did. I was surprised about the number. I'm not sure that the conservative number of $750,000, if it's that conservative, it would be great if it were conservative and were higher, but I still think if that's conservative, that's a big opportunity for the town.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. There's just not, I think Sam might have recently gotten some more data that I haven't seen, but their state doesn't really collect that data on the mail order portion of the sales tax. So they're kind of guesstimating. To me, whether it's, 600,000 or 800,000, we still are going to have these expenses that we as a town are going to need to cover. somehow.
And, the other pieces I want to mention were, it's approximately 3/4 or 74% estimated of the local option tax or tourist tax burden falling on non-residents. And
Excuse me, what percentage?
74% would be on visitors, 26%, or that's the estimate. Of course, it'll vary with, the season and that's based on their assumptions that they made, that they went over with you.
It does vary quite a bit.
Yeah.
And one question I had, it varies when you look at that average from other towns. It varies from locals paying as little as, under 20% and also as much as 35 or 40%. One thing I wondered about, and this was maybe too much to ask them, to look at the demographics of different communities, because I would expect that our mail order is probably going to be higher than average, with more discretionary income here, and it will be a bigger burden on locals. But as I think both the report and Josh pointed out, there are a lot of exemptions to the sales tax that help people with their basic needs.
And yeah, exactly. So I'm in favor of moving forward to explore it further.
I want to thank you for setting up that meeting with us and Josh and Sam the other day. It was helpful. It's very intoxicating to look at those numbers. Affordability is still a concern of mine. At what price is this going to extract from our community? And I didn't understand it was that. You said 70%. I thought it was more like 30%. And I think it depends on what products are being taxed. The good part of it is the five of us is going to decide whether or not this tax goes into effect. The voters will decide. But I'm still hesitant. There's poverty in this valley. We don't see it very well, but it's there. And at what price and where do we hold line on taxes are the questions that I ask myself.
To Fred's point, there was a previous meeting that he mentioned that we should be looking also at how we can tighten the belt. And I feel like it's also incumbent on us to look when we do the budget to figure out if there are places where that can happen. But I also think that realistically, the very real needs of the community, including parts that are impoverished, are not going to be able to be met with the single revenue stream that the town currently has, which is, property taxes. And in terms of financial burden on, individual members of the community, I feel like if we're picking between the lesser of two evils, if that's the way you wanted to frame it, I can't fathom trying to raise the revenue needed to be able to provide basic things like a safe bridge to cross and, safe water to drink with the waste. I feel like the wastewater project is a pretty necessary next step for the community for many reasons. And from what I've seen, I don't see any other alternatives. Like I welcome finding out what other alternatives could look like, but this does seem a sort of like guest tax or visitor tax does seem like the best possible way to address like very real needs for folks who visit and live here without foisting the entirety of that financial burden on just Waitsfield property tax owners. Or, yeah.
And
Property
renters,
tax.
which it would trickle down to renters if we had to raise property taxes to that degree. Probably they would pay higher rents too.
So what does it moving forward look like? I guess we should kind of figure out what additional information we want to have and make sure we have a process to engage the voters.
Makes sense to me. Do we need to, should we do everything at the select board level or have a separate, like a wastewater committee to do outreach and answer questions? Or somewhere in the middle?
Good question. Yes, I think maybe something in the middle. I don't want it, I would be hesitant to say, let's have the wastewater task force do it. Because I think this goes way above and beyond the wastewater.
Yeah, no, I was saying a separate.
Yeah.
Not have the wastewater.
Modeled after that,
Right.
not
Okay, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
You know, the planning district has, they're not a proponent, they want to be a resource, but they offered to continue to be a resource in doing some of this, research and answering further questions. So we should reach out to them. I do think that they did a really good job on that report. And one thing that Josh told me was, as they were talking to Vermont League of Cities and Towns, asking them for information, they weren't getting any. They hadn't done any kind of survey of towns or anything. And when they shared the report, the VLCT asked if they could use that and make it available because they thought that it was really well done.
Yeah, and we have the benefit of 38 other Vermont towns having passed some version of this already. And we can keep going to them, VLCT, for some answers. And then I just forgot to mention, we also have the added feature that the state has increased the reimbursement rate for taxes like this from 70%, which it was in 2020, to 75%. So that's an additional.
And that may actually continue to
And they might go
work
for
in the town's favor. And what's happening is that my understanding is they collect that money for the pilot program, the payment in lieu of taxes program that reimburses towns for lost property taxes when the state owns land. And they were just creating a surplus every year because as more towns adopt the lot, there's more revenue statewide. So that's gonna likely continue. I don't see
that the percentage will increase in our favor over time.
So the legislature figures it out.
This they have with other things.
Yeah, to your earlier comment though, I think we saw with wastewater that, that committee, which I was a part of, put a significant effort into the public education piece over the next 6 months. If we were to do a vote in March, to put it on the March ballot, that's plenty of time in my view, but we can't wait till, February and say, oh, what are we going to do about that upcoming vote?
Also, if we put it on if we put it on the ballot, it's going to really complicate our budgeting because I think we're going to have, two scenarios. One is here's our budget, assuming no lot, and then we need to talk to the lawyer about what if we have another item saying in the event the lot passes, assuming it's going to be Australian ballot, we kind of rescind what we just did in order to transfer this money into these uses. It'll just be we won't know whether we're going to have the money when we adopt the budget, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Or we could just say all the lot's gonna go into reserve funds
Reserve funds, yeah.
and then have a really meaty reserve funds. Which, Dave, I hope that your possibility comes true and we'll get to the point where we don't have a lot of capital
Would be
costs.
nice, but yeah, no, I agree that it's not looking extremely likely at the moment.
It looks less and less likely every day, I think.
Yeah.
So I guess, are we all good? Do we want to form a committee to do more work? And I would be glad to work on it. I don't have, I'll have, my time's gonna be a little limited until the end of November. I'm doing some traveling, I got a work project, but I would have time to work on this. I will be away for a couple of weeks. And I don't know who else might be. Yeah, some of the, I mean, I know what some of the concerns are gonna be. We voted on this once before, but that was a very, very different scenario, a three-town
It was
fund
it was
without any
convoluted.
details. And it was fairly new at the time, and now we've had really every shopping destination in north central Vermont, Waterbury, Berlin, Montpelier, Barry, Williston, South Burlington, all have this too. So we're not putting our local businesses at a statewide competitive disadvantage.
Yeah, and every other ski town
Every other.
in Vermont.
So thoughts on how to proceed?
I could probably help out for a little bit, partially from afar until things kind of free up a little bit for you, Brian. I also want to be realistic about my ability to participate from afar. So I mean, I think I'd be able to work with folks on at least the kind of messaging and sort of communication with the community strategies on the early end, if I can then like pass the baton to you in November.
I think a committee makes a lot of sense. I think we'll need it to get the work done. I think York will have to be a piece of it.
Yeah.
I think Josh and Sam can be super helpful, but this is a town specific, Waitsfield specific thing that they should be,
I agree.
in my view, kind of front and center in that process. They absolutely as a support resource.
Yeah, they indicated that there has been some communication from the other two member towns that they might also want them to help. So I think there'll just be play that resource role.
I think it might be worth also checking in with Eric Friedman,
Yes.
Chamber of Commerce, if that hasn't already happened. I imagine it has, but it's a sort of similar resource.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, I was thinking about that, about reaching out to just get the sense of what some of the businesses who are going to be affected by this would be.
My data are very limited at this point, but I've heard mixed things, and I think that Eric probably has a better sense of what it feels like for folks who are particularly in retail and sales on the ground.
It was interesting at the steering committee meeting, we shared that they had done a basically voluntary Chamber of Commerce more than 1%. So, I think like 3 or 4 or something percent to fund the marketing budget in the past.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And
right.
that, a lot of the businesses that view the infrastructure and these kind of development things as being also necessary might be supportive, but that it's not apples and apples, but
Yeah, but
yeah, to
definitely
get their
that should
feedback.
be, that's probably one of the first tasks for a committee is to do some outreach.
Yep.
And Eric, if you've seen the Men of the Mad River calendar, he has nothing to hide.
I asked on October 3rd, but it wasn't on sale yet.
So.
Yeah, and then I don't know. what other representatives we might want to get, but to make sure that we have outreach to people who are gonna be, you know, payors of this,
Yeah.
as consumers and, you know, explain, you know, I'm still learning exactly what's covered and what's exempt, but, you know, food, medicine, clothing, stuff like that, and how that's broken down, that you don't pay this 1% extra on, to help get that delineated for people.
Mhm.
John Jamison still spend his winters in Utah?
He does. Yes.
I think because he was so, he hadn't been for a couple of years, but he was very well plugged into the business community. And he was involved in the last discussion about this, but
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I think he'll be
yeah.
away throughout the whole kind of planning phase.
You want to kind of look for names and come up with some at the next meeting? And start to kind of put a agenda together?
Mhm. Yeah.
Is there a limit on number of select board members that can be on it, or? should we-
If there are more than two, it becomes a select board meeting. And, you know, maybe that's okay.
Well, that was my question, on a separate,
Are you interested?
on a separate committee was if we have a committee that's authorized by the select board, is it a select board committee? essentially?
If there's three,
If there's,
if there's a quorum.
Okay.
Because we would be talking about town business. But that wouldn't be the end of the
yeah,
world.
let's come up with names for the next meeting. I'll look into that part.
So is that, do you want to put it to a vote? Just do a straw poll? I feel like there's different levels of comfort, but there's a willingness to move forward with exploring it.
I mean, it's 4-1. Go ahead and do it.
So
I can count.
we would be voting to authorize formation of a committee, or
Do we, yeah, or do you want to do that at the next meeting? I guess or if that would be maybe a formal step towards it and it would be newsworthy.
makes sense to me to do that today. I'll authorize the formation, but we don't have all the names and the committee's not set yet. We try to get that set by the end of the month, or
So are you making a motion? Or are you just saying, let's do that?
I'm saying, let's do that. I'm
Okay.
happy to make the motion.
No, let's just do it. We'll have more detail next time. I'm thinking at some point, Fred, you've mentioned that a lot of people don't know what goes on at these meetings. And of writing something to the paper saying why we're exploring this and what the thoughts are without taking and I could do it just coming from me. I could share it with the select board and we could sign on however you want to do it, but I was thinking that might be helpful.
I do think that in the past, we've sort of stated that working on all town matters are communicated
Yep.
to the greater community is something that is an area that could be
In need of improvement.
improved on. Yes, there we go. I think this could be a good opportunity to start that.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would like to hear more from the community at large.
Yeah.
And I think putting something in the Valley Reporter would be advantageous.
Okay.
And I wish we would do it for almost every meeting.
Yeah.
If it's just bullets, because people just don't know what we're doing
I agree.
so much of the time.
Yeah.
And I'd
Well,
welcome
If
feedback
it
from
rains, I'll take a shot at it.
Come November, maybe.
It's been hard. This Indian summer. Okay, we'll think about some names, outreach if you run across people who you think would be interested and constructive and, it would be good to get somebody from hospitality, somebody from retail, if that's out there. And if I get a chance, I probably will. If I draft something, I'll circulate it. And
Great.
we can decide whether you want it to be a board thing or you're just okay with me doing it myself. It would not be, it would be very factual. Here's the information we've got. Here's why we're exploring it. Here's what we see as the opportunity. And we welcome public input.
Yeah, and I would add with that, we are, we will, I don't think we're ready to set dates, but we will be holding public forums and
Yeah.
between now and March.
How
town meeting day.
the wastewater vote? Was there a big public forum at the church, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Several, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had several. We did,
I spoke at one.
yeah, yeah, we did at least two. We did videos. We did stuff on the town website. We did kind of coffee hour down at the coffee shop. We tried to create as many opportunities for engagement as we could.
Yeah.
And
I
we
wish we
actually
could do that on everything.
yeah, we got reasonable attendance at those events.
Okay. I think that's the model. Are we set on that? Next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion on that? And I apologize, the hyperlink to the board minutes, which were posted on the webpage, didn't seem to work, although they were posted on our webpage.
And I couldn't find them on the webpage.
And it's not easy to find.
Yeah, that's true. I can testify to that. So I haven't reviewed them.
Do you want to pull it from the agenda? I was fine with them, but everybody sees something different. How do you want to do it?
I've looked at them and I'm fine with them, but if you want to.
If the two of you looked at them, it's good. I'm good with
Okay.
it.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Select board roundtable? It's not even 8:00.
Good job.
Downright reasonable hour. Easy.
You have anything, Fred? Dave?
I don't right now.
Larissa? York, please.
Not
Nothing happened.
the
We
moment.
mentioned this last time, but we're moving forward with a committee to look at how to improve town meeting and make it more accessible to parents of small children and working people who have jobs that they need to go to, and try to make it as best attended a town meeting as we can. So if anyone is interested in sharing their ideas for that or even serving on the committee, please reach out.
Thanks for doing that.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, one thought that I had is Josh Schwartz did have some information and looked into some towns that really made an effort. And as a Waitsfield voter, not as a planning district member, that we might want to see if he would be interested in that.
Great. I'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
think.
sure he wants to join another committee.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a member from the PTA all set, and so just looking for anyone else who wants to share their ideas of what's very important.
Yeah, I'm forgetting a name. About 10 years ago, I think, there was a petition to go to Australian ballot on the budget, and that was voted on at town meeting. And a committee got together to do have similar discussions. It didn't take it too far, but actually made some changes. It didn't, they had daycare at that meeting. That didn't stick.
Mhm.
And there's a person who was very helpful on it. I need to ask somebody for her name. She might be interested, so.
Let me know. Thanks.
Do we know why it didn't stick? Is it just sort of a continuity thing, or?
Yeah, I don't think there were, because there have been at town meetings before, there's been childcare, there's been refreshments, but it's, nobody really took ownership of it over the years. You know, I think that Jennifer has her hands full just making sure that it's well-staffed and everything runs, you know, according to, you know, all the legal requirements. So I don't think we can expect her to be doing the kind of the,
Definitely not,
Yeah.
yeah,
Coffee
balloting
table,
is
yeah.
that's a.
Someone else
Nope.
needs,
Yeah,
someone else needs to take that on.
so. I don't think we need an executive session.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Wow,
So we don't have any pressing legal or personnel issues, so
are you looking for a motion to adjourn?
yes.
I so-
Did we do the consent agenda?
Did we vote on it?
We already
Yeah,
did.
We did, okay, cool. Thank you.
Did we?
Is that your
So I
motion?
moved
Yes,
to
we did.
adjourn.
we
Okay, good.
sidetracked a
I
little
just,
I
bit.
believe
my
you.
brain just got etch a sketch, sorry, I wasn't sure.
With the minutes.
You and me both.
And we have a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in
Hesitate.
favor?
Alright,
Okay.
wow. The bars are still open.
Hey, Larissa,
Go
you.
ahead.